Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? It's day 3. We are halfway through all of this already. Look how quickly it's going. Um, welcome to day 3. As you can maybe hear from my voice, I am a little hoarse today. I do have a cold, a good old-fashioned cold. Apparently, you can still get those in a pandemic. Um, we did get COVID tested. We are all negative. It is literally a cold. I apologize in advance. I don't have as much vocal strength today as I normally do, so I might be a little quieter. I'm making up for it by wearing some very loud red yoga pants, but vocally, I may be a little quiet. I've got some tea behind me. I may have to have some little sips of tea. I hope by day 3, you're starting to get the hang of this Pilates thing and you're enjoying where we're going with it. Today, we are continuing our journey adding weights into the work. We're also going to be adding a little bit of plank work into today's workout. And what else are we doing? Oh, it is the first day that we are looking at the half roll back movement. Now, this is not a movement that you haven't seen before. It's just we haven't done it in this particular position before. It is a seated position. We will be rolling through the pelvis. We'll be thinking of the pelvis like a wheel as we roll through it. When we get to that point, I will give a very quick little tutorial or just explanation into it to help you get that movement down. It's a great movement to access deep abdominal work. That said, let's start on our hands and knees. We're going to start with some cat stretches. I'm just going to have a quick little sip of my tea. You can already hear that voice is struggling a little bit. So here we go. Hands and knees. If you need to double up on your mat or put a pillow under your knees, please do. The first exercise will be on our hands and knees. Here we go. We're letting that tailbone roll under, rounding through the spine. Sliding the tailbone free, rippling through the spine, and lifting the chest. And again, letting that tailbone drop, deepening through those abdominals. And sliding the tailbone free, rippling through. One more time like this, scooping through the tummy muscles, letting that tailbone drop and round that back. Slide the tailbone free, rippling through the spine. All right, we're going to go into some arm circles from here. So finding a nice neutral pelvis, I'm going to place the weight onto my furthest away from you arm. And I'm just going to use 3 big circles here with my arms. 2 and 3. And then I'm going to reverse the direction of that. So just nice and easy moving through that movement, working through the rotator cuff. Tummy is gently pulling. Let's go right away to the other side. Just nice big circles here. And I am trying to keep my body fairly quiet. I don't want to be like super rotating the whole torso. And let's reverse the direction. Big circles here. One more time. And down. Okay, we only need 1 weight for our first exercise. Again, we are on the hands and knees, so double up on that mat or place something underneath your knees. And we're going to bring the elbow toward the waist, tricep kick back, bend that elbow, and back down. Let's do it again. Back and kick back, bend and down. 2 more like that. Bend the elbow, kick it back, pull those abs in. Last one like this, and then we're going to add that layer 2 in. If you'd like to join me, I'm going to extend my opposite leg out, going back to the exercise with the arms. Elbow to my waist, reach that arm back, bend and down. 2, keeping my hips really nice and square so I'm not rotating my hip up. 2 more like this. 1 more time. You can always bring the leg down. I'm going to keep my leg up for the next exercise, bringing my arm out to the side. 5 circles, 1. 2, you can always bring the leg in if you would like. Once I've done my 5, I'm going to reverse those 5. 3, pushing the floor away, 5, and then bringing the weight down toward my hip, bringing it back out to that 90-degree position. Deepening those abdominals, push that floor away, and really pulling up through my inner thigh on my supported leg. 2, 1, and bring it down. Now, before we go to the other side, we're going to introduce that plank. So we're going to start on the knees. I'm going to bring my legs back a little bit and then open my legs quite wide. The weight is going to come behind the wrist of the arm that was just worked. And here's my plank, and I'm just going to pull that weight from one side to the other. So just drawing the weight under the body. The closer the legs are together, the more unstable it's going to be for you, the harder you're going to work. So choose your own adventure, choose how much support you would like today. We've got one left here, and relax. Now we have to do all of that on the other side. So we start by just doing the arm work, bringing the elbow into the waist, extend that arm back, bend and down. 2, push the floor away, and 3, and 4. If you'd like to extend your leg out with me, now's the time to do it. Let's bring those arms back into play. And we bring the arm up and back. And 2 more like this. And down, exhaling, inhaling. Bring the arm out to the side. You can always lower the leg if you need to. Here are my circles. I know you can't see it, but I'm circling my arm here. And 2, and 1, reversing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I'm bringing my arm to my hip. I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to bring my arm to my hip and then up. Arm to hip and up. 3, and 2, and 1. Bring that arm down, bring the leg down, and we go back to the plank. But join me for layer 2 if you would like. I'm going to open my feet quite wide on the mat in a traditional plank position. And again, we're drawing that weight across the mat. Breathing through it. There is a shift of weight. I'm just trying to keep it controlled. One more time on each side. Bring those legs down. Push yourself back for a moment. And then come on up. Okay, I'm going to put the weight away for right now and come onto my back. We're going to go into a little bit of abdominal work here. Keeping the feet flat on the floor, I'm going to bring my leg closest to the camera to tabletop. Then I'm going to extend it up to the ceiling. Lowering that leg to the floor, lifting it up. Lowering it to the floor, lifting it up. This is our layer 1. We're going to do 2 more like that. And 1. Layer 2, hands behind the head. Let's curl up as we lower the leg. Lift the leg, bring the head and shoulders down. Curl up and down. And 2. 1 more time here. We're going to come up and stay. Flex the foot. Point the foot, flex the foot, point the foot. For 4, 3, deepen those abs, 2, and 1. Bend the leg in, lower the head and shoulders, and down. Other side, leg to tabletop, find that extension, lower the leg, and lift it up. Find a little bit of glute work to help support that leg as you lower it to the floor and up. 2. 1 more time here. Hands behind the head. Curl up as you lower that leg down. Lift it up tall. Curl up. And tall. 2 more. Pull those abs. And 1 last time, we come up and stay. Flex and point. Flex and point. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the leg and lower down. Same exercise, but we bring both legs to tabletop. So you have a choice here. You can keep one leg down if you'd like. You are welcome to bring both legs up. This is much more challenging for the core. First leg comes up. Lower the leg down. You may not go as low as the first leg. That's okay, or the first time you did it. Find the glute and up. Keep that core really supported so you're not popping your back. Last one. Hands behind the head. Curl up as you lower the leg. And down. Curl up. Down. 2. Last one, I'm going to hold that. Flex and point. Flex and point. 4. 3. You can always bring the leg down. 1. Pull it in, lower the head and shoulders. Other side. So again, you can do all of this again with one leg down. Let's bring the leg up. Nice exhale. Inhale it up. Exhale. Inhaling it up. I'm really trying to stay quiet through my upper body. It is a challenge. Last one. And up. Hands behind the head. Here we go. Curl. And back. Let's curl up. And back. The work gets harder every day. We build it. Here we go. We hold it. Flex. Point. Pull those abs in. 4. 3. 2. 1. Bend those legs. Lower the head and shoulders. And down. All right. Both legs are coming back up into a nice tabletop position here. We're going to open the legs into a double knee drop and close. Let's just do that a couple of times. Opening to a double knee drop and close. Now you can stay with this movement. This is your layer 1 movement. Or you can join me for layer 2. We are going to open those legs, extend them, pull them back together, and then bend. So we're getting some good inner thigh here. Extend those legs, pull those legs together, and bend. Let's do that 2 more times. Exhale. And bend. 1 more time. Open. Extend if you would like. Pull those inner thighs together, and bend. Let's add a 3rd layer. We're adding an ab curl. Curl up, open those legs. Extend them wide. Pull them together. Close and lower the head and shoulders. Now you can do this with the ab curl and just keep the legs in the tabletop position. You don't have to add the extension if you don't want to with the legs. Or you can just keep to the leg work. Choose your own adventure. See how you're feeling today. And in. We got 1 more time like this. Curl, open those legs. Find that long leg. Close it up. Lower the head and shoulders. And lower the legs down. All right. How are we all doing so far? We are going to go into our half roll back movement in a moment. But before we start, I want to do a couple of hip rolls first. This is going to help us with that movement. So, tailbone and pubic bone become very important cues for us when we do our half roll back movement. I want you to think of that tailbone rolling up toward the ceiling like a little balloon is floating it up. You can feel your back flatten against the mat. We're going to continue that movement and take it into a hip roll. Rolling up through the spine. Rolling down through the spine. As I get to that low back and I deepen those abdominals, I'm going to start to unravel the tailbone from the pubic bone from the belly button. Let's do that again. So if I'm thinking of a pelvic wheel here, I'm rolling my tailbone toward the pubic bone toward the belly button. I'm going to pick the spine up and peel it up off of the mat. And then as I come down, I begin to soften through the rib cage, soften through the throat, deepening those abdominals, and I begin to unravel that pubic bone from the belly button and the tailbone from the pubic bone. We are now going to come up to sitting. We are going to use our weights for this, so keep them close. But we're going to start with our half roll back movement. So the first thing I want you to do is sit on your sits bones. From here, I'm just going to place my hands underneath my knees for this. I want that same pelvic wheel movement. So I'm going to roll my tailbone toward my pubic bone, rolling off of my sit bones. And that's as far as I'm going. I'm not going much deeper than this. So now I'm on the top of my bum cheeks. And then I'm going to reverse my wheel, rolling my pubic bone back toward the floor, letting the tailbone roll free. So my goal here is to not move from my mid-back for all of this. I actually want to think of lengthening my spine as I go into my roll. So as the tailbone rolls, I'm actually lengthening and opening up that lumbar spine as I curl. And then as I roll myself back, I'm getting this nice kind of just rolling movement through my pelvis. So we're going to do that one more time. Take a breath in. On the exhale, pull up through that pelvic floor. Allow that tailbone to roll under you. Stay beautiful and open in that upper body. Keep that collarbone wide. It's going to help us with the next exercise. Rolling up. Okay. Grab those light weights. Here we go. Reach the arms out in front of you. Sitting tall on those sit bones, we're going to find that little scoopity-doo in those low abdominals. Stay open in the chest. Hold that. Bend the elbows and out. Bend and out. For 4. Exhale, 3. Deepen those abdominals. And 2. And 1. Reach the arms long. Now start to unravel your wheel. Pubic bone rolling away from belly button. Tailbone rolling away from pubic bone. Very nicely done. Let's do it again. If you're getting super grippy in your hip flexors, you can let the legs fall apart a little bit. It will help loosen up those hip flexors a little bit. So here we go again. We're going to roll that tailbone toward the pubic bone. The pubic bone is going to roll itself to the belly button. Off we go to the races. We are in this lovely curl. Let's go to our bicep curls. Keep that collarbone wide so you're not sinking in the chest. Deepen those abs. 4 more. And 3. And 2. And 1. Reach those arms nice and long. Get tall through the top of the head. Unravel that pelvic wheel. And sit tall. We're not done. Arms out. Scoop through the tummy muscles. I'm only going to open one arm, the arm closest to the camera, and I will resist the urge to rotate with that weighted arm and back to center. Other side, open and center. Open and center. Open, deepen those abs and center. We're going to come up, take a breath in. Get tall, get tall, get tall from the top of the head. Lower the arms. Those arms are starting to get a little tired. We got one more set of that. Up with those arms. Drop the weight at any point if you need to. And scoop through those tummy muscles. Resist the urge to rotate as you open the arms wide. One arm at a time. We're going to rotate in a minute. And 1. Take a breath in. Get tall, get tall, get tall. And lower the arms down. We're going to take a quick little break from the weights to do some bow and arrow work. Now, again, if osteoporosis or osteoarthritis is a concern that you have, I'm not crazy about doing curls and rotation with you. So you're going to sit nice and tall on your sit bones. Everyone can join me for this because it's just a nice rotation. The arms are out in front of us, and we're going into our bow and arrow. So as I rotate toward you, I'm going to let that the elbow begin to bend, and I'm going to rotate my head, my collarbone, my rib cage, and then back to center. And I do that the opposite way. Head and collarbone and rib cage wrap around my spine and center. And we do it again. Staying beautiful and open to the chest, letting those bones and those muscles move. All right, and down. You can do that again with weights. If you are not concerned about going into the flexion with rotation, you can join me for this part of the exercise. So we are just going to add an half roll back to that same bow and arrow movement. So we are scooping through the tummy muscles, and then from here, bending and rotating, deepening into those obliques, and then back to center. Other side, rotate, 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 back to center. Keep the scoop one more time each side. Head and collarbone and rib cage and center and head and collarbone and center. Take a breath in, roll up. Let's do it one more time, just for funsies. Up we come, scoop, 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 scoop. Let's start with the opposite directions, coming head and collarbone and bridge, back to center. Rotating, 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 and center. And 2. And 1, bringing out my spine here. And getting tall and tall and tall and down. All right, we are going to get rid of one of our weights. For right now, we will need it in a minute. But we're going to go into some sideline leg work. Taking the weight, placing it behind the knee. And because the weight is behind the knee, it's going to be really easy to drop it when we're doing the work. Make sure that you're really pulling your heel towards your bum. So really waking up your hamstrings there. Elbow is going to be underneath the shoulder, and I'm actively pushing the floor away. That's going to keep me lifted, this beautiful little mountain peak under my armpit. I want to maintain that peak. So I don't want to sink. I want to actively push the floor away. Classic Pilates clams. The feet stay together, and I'm going to lift my knee up and then down. I want to work from my hip joint, so I'm squeezing my bum, and I'm allowing my thigh bone to rotate within my hip joint. But my pelvis is going to stay really quiet. It's kind of like turning a key in a lock. The key, which is my thigh bone, is going to rotate and open, but the lock, my pelvis, is not going to move. It's going to stay pretty quiet. Let's do this for 4. And if at any point this starts to not feel great, you can always lie yourself down. 2. We've got 1 left here, and we build on it. So from here, we go into internal rotation. So I'm going to now bring my knees together. I'm going to flex my foot. And as I engage my glute, I'm aiming for kind of the top of my table here. So I'm going for a bit of a diagonal and down, like a diagonal up, diagonal up. And again, I'm really bringing that heel toward my bum. You can drop the weight at any point behind the leg on this. If it's like falling or you just don't like it, you will absolutely still feel glute work here. And 2, and 1. We're going to go into an exercise I call the Dolphin. So we start with our clam. We internally rotate, touch those knees, externally rotate, touch the toes. Internally rotate, touch the knees, externally rotate, and touch those toes. If the neck is starting to get sore, you can turn the head toward the floor. It is hard to stay in the side plank position for longer periods of time. 2 more like this. 1 more set. Here we go. Lower the leg down. We are not done. You're going to pick that leg up, the whole leg. My heel is still reaching for my bum, and I'm going into 5 circles. 1 and 2, squeezing that glute at the top and back of the circle. 2, 1, reversing that 1 and 2, 3. Do you feel that? 4 and 5, and come down. Other side. Taking that weight, placing it behind the knee, bringing those knees pretty close to the bum, and actively pushing the floor away so we're not sinking into the ribs. We're going into our classic Pilates clam here. Give that bum a squeeze. Now that glute, when you're working, just worked very hard to stabilize and support your pelvis on the other side. So it may, right from the get-go, start to feel a little tired. Let's do this for 4 and 3. Can you feel those little shakety shakes? And 1. We're going to do that internal rotation. Bring those knees together, flex the foot, and I'm going to go back on that little diagonal, engaging my glute, lifting. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's our little dolphin, and I call it the dolphin, up and rotate down. Because I always think of the knee as I do this as like a dolphin's fin coming in and up, of the water. I don't know why that's the image that comes to mind, but it is. And up, let's do this for 3 and 2, 1. Slowly lower that leg down, lift it right back up, 5 circles, 1 and 2. You can always look down if the neck starts to feel it. You can always lie yourself down if the upper body is done. And let's reverse that for 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1, and down. All right. Let's take a moment to come onto our bellies for a little extension work. If being on your belly today does not feel good, stay on your knees. You can place a pillow behind the knees so you're propped up a little bit, and you can do the extension work from here without having to go onto your belly. When we get to the glute work, I will show you a modification that you can do as well. So we're just going to do a little extension work here. Opening my legs about bum cheek distance apart or a little wider, hands by my shoulders, pulling my belly in and away from the floor. Slide those shoulder blades together, start to lengthen out through the top of the head, and get long through the top of the spine. And then melt back down. Letting those shoulder blades glide together like elevator doors slide and close, lengthening out through the top of the head, pulling the abdominals in, giving the bum a squeeze. There is very real energy out my legs here to protect my back. It is not dead weight in my legs. Let's do 2 more. Lengthening out, exhaling, pulling up through that pelvic floor. Inhaling down. And last one here, exhaling as we come up. Pulling those abs in and down. Push yourself back, just into a nice child's pose. We are going to do a little bit of work on our belly for our glutes. If being on your belly doesn't feel comfortable, what I want you to do is come onto your hands and knees and bring your heels together and your knees apart. So you're in that clam position that we were in before. From here, you'll lift and lower. It's almost like you're doing a little pee on a fire hydrant, okay? You'll do 4 on one side, 4 on the other, and then you'll join us with pulses as well. If you are coming onto the floor with me, we're going to grab those weights, and we're going to place one behind each knee. A little awkward to get into, but we're going to do it. Okay, so head is resting. The first thing I'm going to do is squeeze those heels together, energize my bum, and I'm going into my heel squeeze prone. Little lift of the knees off the mat and then down. So if you're on your hands and knees, the first leg you're going to do 4 before you switch it out. We are going to do 8 of these together. We're already on 3 and 4. Switch your legs out if you're on your hands and knees. Join me for another 4 if you're on your belly. Pull those abs in. 3 and 2 and 1. Go back to the first leg if you are on your hands and knees. If you are on your belly, come on up. We're going to do 4 pulses here. Pulse it 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it up there so our friends who are on their knees can switch to the other leg. Do 4 more pulses. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's take those weights away and push yourself back. We have 1 more leg series to go into today before we finish. All right, this is probably, we don't need the weights. This is probably my most favorite leg series that I do in Pilates. If you've been taking my classes, this is not going to be a surprise. The arm furthest away from the camera is going to come down onto the forearm. The other arm, I'm going to stay on my palm. Turning my pelvis and hips to face you, I'm going to reach my top leg long. Lifting and lowering 1 and 2. So it doesn't feel like much right now. Trust me, it's going to build. We've got 4 left here, pulling in for 4 and 3, 2. We're gonna hold that leg up there, bend it in. So it's like I'm doing a little kick out. Bend it in, find that nice wide bum as you pull your leg in. Really let your bum release, then fire that glute up to kick the leg out. I'm really reaching through my heel here. It helps wake up the posterior chain of my leg. It helps wake up all the tissue back there, including my glute. 2 more. 1 more. You thought it was over. It is not. Point that foot. You're going to bring that leg forward and touch it down. So I'm sort of on the side of my mat now. I'm going to lift that leg back up and bring it back in line with my hip joint. Bring it forward, tap it down, and up. Bring it forward, tap it down. This is the butt burner right here. Trying to stay really active in my core so I'm not overusing my back. 2 more. Woo, last one here. And let's bring that leg up, and we're just gonna hug ourselves and come down into a nice big child's pose. And we have to do that on the other side. Here we go. That back arm is gonna come down. Front arm, just palm resting. I'm gonna turn to face my hips towards you. Here we go, lift and lower. The second side, we're just gonna smile through it. We're just gonna make our way through it. I'm gonna move forward a little bit so you can see my foot. Make our way through it. Let's do this for 4. We're so close. 3. Swear out loud. It's nobody but you and me. Last one here. Bend that leg in and out. 1. Whew. 2. 3. 4. 5. Oh, we're almost done. 7. Beautiful work. We got to do those little half rainbows down. Oh, not a break. And 2. Up and down. Whoo. 3. And 4. If you've ever taken one of my classes, you know how much I like to work the glutes. Whew. I also start yelling, apparently, when I'm trying to get through really hard exercises. 1 more time. Whew. Bend it in, down, and a child's pose. Excellent, excellent work. We're going to roll ourselves up through the spine. Come to sit on your bum. Open the legs wide. We're going to go into a little spine stretch forward here. Reach those arms up. I'm going to hinge at my hips, then soften my back, and just go for a nice stretch. Now you can absolutely bend the legs here if going for a straight leg is just more than your body is willing to do today. You can also sit yourself on a pillow to prop yourself up a little bit more. It'll help give you a little bit more range of movement. And down. And rolling up. We're going to take this back leg, cross it over the front, and go into just a little figure 4 stretch here. Think of getting really tall through the spine as you gently hug the leg in. I'm not yanking my leg into my chest. I'm just providing a little bit of kind of upward and inward pressure. And I can rotate toward that leg to give me a little bit of rotation in the spine. Bring back to center. We'll do the other side. So you never want to force a stretch, ever. It's just going to make your muscles tighten even more and get even more angry. Instead, breathe through it. Breathe through it. And as you breathe through it, that tissue will gently begin to release a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And you will find the release and the stretch. But if you try to force it, it's not going to feel any better. All right, you're done. Halfway through our 5-day challenge. Very well done today, everyone. The end of this class was not an easy one. A huge focus on glutes. I hate to say it, we're doing more glutes tomorrow. So be kind to your bodies today. I really hope that you enjoyed the class. I love seeing your photos afterwards. Please keep that up. And as always, it's an absolute pleasure. And I look very forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.